All right, so welcome everyone to our home-based business class. We're currently doing this every other week, and we're so happy for all of you that were able to join us today, or will be watching the replay. And this class we want to do it on a regular basis because we want to make sure that people have information and understand that right now is the best time to start a business, and a home-based business is a viable option. It is a legit thing. It is something that is regulated and is an option for people, especially right now in the year of 2020, when many people are spending a lot more time at home. So why not take the opportunity to use some of that time to get yourself some extra income? So with that, I am going to turn it over a little bit to Sheila. She is an amazing person who's been doing this business for about 12 years. And I just want her to share a little bit of her story and let us know, first of all, just how you got into Young Living.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for being here, recording, the people who are here live, really appreciate it. And how did I get started? I tell you, many of the Young Living people in business, Young Living business builders is what we call them, started out the same way I started out, in the sense that we just fell in love with the product. So usually it kind of comes with falling in love with the product, having a lot of health success stories, starting to integrate it into our lives, falling in love with the company, and the principles, falling in line with the principles of health and wellness and abundance and purpose. And a lot of people kind of found themselves, how do I want to say, found themselves kind of like growing as they became a part of the company just by using the products. And so what I mean by that is starting to kind of grow into the business. You're starting with health and you're getting your health really well. And that's what happened with me. And I started integrating it into my family and using it for all of our health needs, like literally all 100% of our health needs. And then, you know, finding purpose, because I was in alignment with that message of wellness and that message of abundance and purpose. So kind of finding that purpose, knowing what the products had done for me and being a part of this company was doing for me, then I wanted to it just was a natural flow of starting to share with people, tell people about it. And then a continuation of that natural flow is telling people, hey, this is a great business. And so that's why I appreciate these business opportunities, you know, these calls, these home-based business. And, you know, I was a stay-at-home mom. My sister told me about the products. I was raising and homeschooling my 6 kids at the time. And I let the business mold into my lifestyle, and we molded into the business. So it just was like a connection that just happened over time, and it just happened so naturally, actually. So that's how I found it, and just as excited as I am to spread the news that, and I'm just going to be like blunt, right? That you don't have to be unwell or sick, or I'm trying to think what's going to be the best words to use here, compliantly, but you don't have to be sick. I also want to say you don't have to be broke. So when we realize that there are options, then it's great to explore those options. And that's what I did. I just explored the option, and 12 years later, I'm still here and I'm still a part of it. And I'm still just as excited about everything about this company from when I started 12 years ago.
Now, I know you said that the way that you started was the typical way. Individuals usually they just start falling in love with the products and they just start sharing casually. And that's good, right? To get to like usually executive, maybe even silver, just depending on how
Right.
good your reach is. But if you want to say, I'm doing this as a full-time business that will give my whole entire family, you have a large family, obviously, it probably takes a lot more
Yes.
than most people to feed all that family. If you want to do this as a business, tell us what the process was of you making the conscious decision to do this as a business and some of what that involved, like the why and how of that.
Can you guys hear me? Because you completely froze. Am I good? Can you see me, hear me? Everything good?
Okay, now we can hear you. Yes. Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yes, yes. Okay. So I'm going to I think I know what you were going to be asking anyway, but here's the thing. At some point, I made the decision. I made the decision. I said, this is for me. So when we are, like you said, getting to a particular, I really got to executive with just like playing with this thing. Okay. I love the product. I just naturally, organically shared. It was a different comp plan. So it was a little bit uh, different way of growing, and I could get there on my own. But I made the decision, and I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why I made a decision, because you mentioned my family. I made the decision, number one, because I wanted to stay at home with my family. That was number one, besides the product and the company. But I also made the decision because of the perks of a home-based business. And we're talking about why now is a great time. One of those perks for me was, and for everybody, is the tax benefits. And so I made that decision because I knew that it would increase my finances, both on what was coming in through Young Living and what wasn't having to go out for taxes. And so I made that a financial decision in that sense. I also made the decision is because I wanted to leave a legacy for my children. And so not everybody knows this, but businesses in our industry, many of them, especially with Young Living, they are, you can pass them down. You can will them. You can will your business to your children. And so I was looking beyond, I just didn't want to build things up and to be a part of this for years and years and years. And then once I'm gone, it's gone. So I'm able to will to my children. Not only that, I was able to integrate my children into our family business. Young Living became our family business. And so I used that business model to even teach my kids business concepts. So there was a lot of reasons outside of having wonderful products, getting wonderful results of health with me and my kids and my husband, and also loving the company, but sort of those outward perks. And then after a while, I started qualifying and winning trips. So that became an unexpected perk because I actually hadn't expected that, but totally loved that part of the business as well. But when you make that decision, there's so much more than what's just kind of at the surface. Making an extra $500 is awesome. Getting debt free is awesome. When you make those decisions to move forward in that way. And I'm just so happy and grateful that my sister introduced me to Young Living. And because of that, I have had a wonderful opportunity with this company for 12 years and counting, not stopping.
So what does working the business actually look like? So when we make this conscious decision, I'm going to work the business, what does that look like? Because most people have an employee mindset where they show up somewhere at 9 to 5, they get kind of what they need to do. I work on project work at my job and I have a flexible schedule, but I still know exactly what I'm due. For the average person that's watching the replay, I want to do the business, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, that, you know what, that's an excellent question. And I don't think we addressed it before. So I'm so glad that you asked that. And it's going to look a little different. It's going to vary a little bit from person to person, but I'll kind of take it in stages. When we first get started, what it will look like is sharing the product and the business with other people, telling other people the good news about what you have experienced with Young Living, being a product of the product. So I want to stress that I'm still a product of the product, been using the product all over my home faithfully for 12 years. And so doing that will help you get your stories. Well, but they're your true life experiences. And all I did was I just started telling people the results I was getting with the product. It was a while before I started sharing the business, but I just got people so excited about the product because so many people needed a change in their health, and they still do. And even probably more so now than 12 years ago. But so many people needed a change, and it was just natural. People wanted it. The same with me with my sister. She barely said anything to me. I was like, okay, let me try it, right? And so I tried it right away, found results right away. So that's how it will look at the beginning. Now, whether that is person to person, which we may be limited a little bit right now, or social media. So a lot of people reach out to other people via social media, and that's a whole training and teaching of itself, or in and of itself. But it could be in person or it could be social media. And then as you move up in ranks, just like a company, you move up in ranks, like you're getting an advance, right? And as you advance up the ranks, then it looks a little bit different because you have a team now, and it's not just you. You can have a team at the beginning, but your team has now grown and you go into a position of leadership. So that looks a little bit more like also working with those team members, helping them to have the same successes that you have had in rank. So it's encouragement, it's building up, it's helping with training. And I just want to say, like, on a daily basis, things will change a little bit. But for me, I had kids that I was homeschooling at the beginning. So for me, it was part-time and it was worked around my schedule. As my kids got older, and now I only have one 15-year-old at home and all my other kids are adults, guess what? I have chosen to work my family around my business because they're older. They don't need me like they did when they were younger. So I can say to them, I'm working my business now full time, and I work my family around my business. And then the other thing is we work together because I have my kids also in the business having their own downlines, and we also work together. So it changes. But what I want to stress is it's all dependent on you. And that's what I loved about it. It could be part-time, it could be full-time. You could switch back and forth from part-time to full-time based on whatever's going on in your life, whatever decisions you make for yourself. You may have heard this, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you get to make the decisions. It's not up to your a job who makes the decisions of your hours and what your activities are or what your job title is. We kind of carry a lot of hats sometimes. And then there's a point where you get to where your business kind of goes on, I just want to say, on automatic, because now you have leaders in place who are also working the business, and you have poured into them, you continue to pour into them, but you could kind of step back a little bit. And that's kind of why we do this. We do it partly for that time freedom. It's the time freedom of deciding on our own what we want to do on a daily basis, but then it's that time freedom that it avails after you put that effort in at the beginning. And that is the allure for a lot of people for home-based businesses. Was that specific enough? As far as
So
what does it look like?
I would like to get a little bit even more
Okay.
specific. Like, so you said you've been part-time, you've been full-time, and that's easy to do when you're focused on family and stuff like that. So for a person, because there are people that will watch this that work a full-time job, or they work a full-time job and they have 3 kids or things of that nature. So have you been able to like grow the business by only working it 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week? Like when you focused more on family but still had your business, like how much time was that? And when you were running for like a trip or a rank, how much time do you think you spent on that?
Okay, I have a son. I have this wise, old soul son who at probably 16 or 17 years old used to go, Mom, how much time are you spending on this? How much time are you spending on your business? How much time are you spending on the family? Trying to help me get my schedule together. And for me, it just interchanged so much that I just couldn't even separate the two. And that was okay with me, right? It was like cooking dinner and somebody needed a moment to place an order and needed my help, that I'd switch over to that. And that worked for me. It's not how it needs to work for everybody, but because I was working from doing my home thing, right, with my kids, I had to kind of shift back and forth. So, but if I had to have a guess of hours, and it would be a guess, I would say that at the beginning, part-time, I probably worked about, on average, 3 to 4 hours a day. And then when I was running for silver, actually, I was putting in, on average, it would be like busier days than other days because I did trade shows. So a trade show might be all weekend for 12 hours a day on that weekend. So I'm working that whole weekend, but then the rest of the week, I'm not doing that, obviously. So if I had to put a average on it, including doing stuff like that, working 12 hours a day sometimes, then I would say it probably averaged about 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. And I really don't think I ever worked like a consistent 8 hour a day, like a job. Like I've never had to do that.
Right.
So probably max on average. Here's the cool thing though. I remember this, so I was silver, and my income at that time was about $2,500 at that time. There's a medium that Young Living shows, and you'll show that. And I just decided to take December off. I was like, I'm just not gonna work this December. This was a few years ago. And I decided not to. And then my paycheck was the same. I was like, oh, I like this, right? But so, it varies so much. You have to decide what is going to work best for you. If you're doing 2 hours a day and you're not getting where you want to be, then you might want to say, well, I might have to do 3 hours today. I might have to do an average of 3 hours a day. I might have to do an average of 4 hours a day. And I'm kind of right there right now with going for diamond. It's like, well, I think I'm gonna have to put in a few more hours to hit my goal. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anyone that says they work the business full time actually say, oh, I worked 40 hours, 45 hours, because full time in the automotive industry is 45 to 60 hours. Or someone sitting in the plant, that's what full time means. And so I just want to make sure that was clarified. Even when you say part time, usually what people mean, part time is usually 24 hours in an employee, and full-time is usually 40 hours, right?
Right, yeah.
But I want to make the distinction and clarity. When we talk to people, sometimes part-time is 10 hours a week.
10 hours, yeah.
And then full-time is 36.
Yeah.
So like, I wanted to make that like clear distinction, because when we just use those terms, from my experience of talking to people, that's what I've heard over and over again. So again, people, if you have any questions, please write them down or put them in the chat. With that, I'm just gonna switch over to the data that you guys have heard several times, but if you're watching the replay, later and it's your first time, you'll still need the information and the statistics. So again, this is our why now is the best time to start a business and why home-based business might be a great place for you to start. And just a snippet about me, I am, just like Sheila was mentioning, this is also an opportunity for someone that makes a lot of money. I'm an automotive professional. I make six figures. I'm the equivalent, if anybody knows automotive, of what would be a supervisor level that would manage about 50 people if I was actually in a plant, but I actually work in an office and I manage that in terms of money and sites instead. And I came to Young Living because I was looking for relief. But again, you don't have to be looking for relief. You could just be wanting to share optimal wellness with other people. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, being in my 30s, feeling like I was in my 50s, hormone issues, body pain from being in accidents, always had allergies, asthma, could never breathe my entire life, gut issues, skin issues, always on medication for eczema. So I was on 7 medications, feeling miserable, and trying to Google my way to good health. Started with the basics, eating right and exercising, because in the automotive industry, we tend to have Buffalo Wild Wings once a week, pizza once a week, sustain ourselves with 4 cups of coffee throughout the day and or a neon colored energy drink. So I got rid of all of that stuff in my life, did a boot camp. At the time I was clinically obese, lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks, and continue to try to exercise every day since then, since fall of 2014. And I just continued to try to Google my way through to good health. And I was spending $200 worth of like just in my flexible spending account on different things, or of my actual money on vitamins and the most disgusting tinctures and herbs and just whatever was supposed to help my gut and my hormones. And none of it really worked. And at the same time, I had some individuals that were on Facebook talking about, I'm diffusing lavender and it smells amazing. And I was like, whatever, they're just trying to sell me something, because I had bought some essential oils in this little journey from Amazon and they totally didn't work. But one of the things that I need to work on, because I was so sick at the time and I'm an extrovert and I'd been so confined to my house with everything that was going on, like my excessive bleeding that went along with my hormones, I was trying to reach out and do things with people because that fills me up. And so I went to a home party where somebody was talking about oils with the intention of not purchasing oils because they obviously didn't work. Panaway was placed on my body. And I was like, these are different. The world needs to know. My sister and my mom are kind of into this like weird stuff. So they're definitely going to do this. So I booked my home party before I bought my kit. I didn't have money. I didn't have the $200 sitting in the bank extra then, because I was the only income in my family at that time with my then ex-husband. And as soon as I was able, I got my kit. I had my first home party. Within 2 weeks, I was on Ninja Red, which everybody needs to be taking, which tremendously helped my vitamin intake. And at the time, I was iron deficient. And so that plus eating better totally changed my life as well. And then a month after getting my kit, I was introduced to Joy and saw how it helped my emotions. And so within 1 month, I had such tremendous radical changes that I just had to continue to share with everyone. So I never really made a conscious decision to do the business. I just knew that from the second Panaway was on my body and all the things that happened in the first month, by the time I had my first home party, that the world needed to know and everyone needed this. And I just started sharing that. So just from a general standpoint, we love to share this graphic because this is what has been deemed as the Great Recession, the latest recession that we had. And these are companies that were created between 2008 and 2010. How many of these companies do you use? And how many of them do you at least know? I use WhatsApp all day long to keep in touch, especially now. It just went up in the past 6 months. I use it all day long. I have met people and I'm able to communicate with people all over the world. I have team members in Peru and Colombia, and Ecuador. And this is the main way that I talk to them. Instagram, I also use Instagram all day long. It is a way that I connect with people as well. I'm now in Instagram groups that I wasn't in before, again, trying to connect with more people in the past 6 months as we've been in our homes more. But I also use it just to chat with people and to promote myself as well. Square, and Venmo, we probably use, those are payment systems. We probably use that all the time without even knowing. But I think I went to a boba tea place recently, and I'm pretty sure that when I checked out, they were using Square. They automatically emailed me because I'm in the Square system. Groupon is my favorite place for me to get some discounted self-care. I want to try this new salt palace place and go to a salt room, or I want to do a different type of massage. Groupon is my place to go. I also used it recently to book a hotel. Uber is the only way that I travel when I go out of town, because I really, a lot of times I don't like to rent a car. I get very confused trying to drive places. So it's just easier for me to either use Lyft or Uber. And Pinterest, I still a lot of graphics and memes and recipes from there all the time. And I know a lot of people love it. So the point is, there was a recession, there was people losing their jobs, there was companies that were closing, and yet these companies saw a need, filled it, and were able to start and then thrive. But why network marketing? We are so clear and understand so well that there is a negative taste in most people's mouths when it comes to network marketing. And that's because people have not been trained properly on it, or has just used it as traditional sales. But there are some benefits, and we want to share those benefits with you. So you can build it part-time and anytime. Again, we've discussed this. A lot of people have businesses with steady growth by working at 10 hours a week and being conscious of those 10 hours a week. I work full-time in the automotive industry. I have to travel. I was just in Bowling Green last week. But while I was there, I was still able to share. And I also do a certain amount of hours of volunteer Bible preaching in Spanish. And then with the time I have left, I work my business. You can build it from anywhere. So I am an extrovert. I am an extreme extrovert. I like in-person parties. I loved our spa parties where we had everything in the world that had to do with beauty, and we had stations, and it was so fun for you to just get a foot soak and a foot massage and then play with the makeup. That was my favorite event that we did, but we can't do that right now. So when I was confined to my house, all we had to do was find a way to make a virtual version of all our classes. We were able to successfully do that, and we were done. And then again, I have actually traveled. I did a business trip. I had a work trip and then visited family afterwards. And so my team saw me dial into classes from California and from New York, and my classes could still run because I had leaders that were there to help me. But I could do it from anywhere in the United States, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. You can launch your business for as little as $500 to $1,000. So we're talking about network marketing in general. Most network marketing companies, you can get in for that. Young Living is a lot less. Usually people get started for about $200, and then you want to make sure that you get some training. So like monthly we have On the Grows, and monthly we have our beauty schools. So I would definitely, if you say I want to do the business and beauty is something that you're into, we'll get your kit and then get your ticket for the next beauty school. If you just want to learn more about the farms and the essential oils, get your kit and make sure that you go to the next On the Grow. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. We talked about this earlier. Your business partners have vested interests. So when I sit down with corporate and I go over my goals, I tell them how many people I want to help rank up. My goals are completely tied to how many people that I can help. You can create enough tax deductions alone to make it worthwhile. This is one of my favorite things as well. I have not been able to win a trip other than the one for Silver Retreat, which was awesome and amazing. But I have been able to travel to the farm in Croatia and have a tax deductible trip. Every single trip that I had in the past month and a half was tax deductible, because I went and I saw people that were either on my team or were prospects I had already sent samples to. As soon as I landed, I gave them the thieves spray and the sanitizer so that we could all be safe when we were in the situation that we're in 2020, we had all types of discussions. A couple of them did sign up after I saw them. So all of my vacations that I just took were tax deductible because I did business every single day while I was there. They saw me put the oils in. I stayed at an Airbnb and I had the diffuser going. They came into my hotel room where they saw the diffuser. All of my vacations were tax deductible because Young Living is so integrated into my life. You can learn it while you earn it. So there are some people that go super fast. There are many people that get their first month, they get a $250 check. And then their next month, they get a $500 check. So you may not be an expert in month 1 or 2, but you can still start earning right away. You can earn an extra $500 to $1,000 or $5,000 or more a month. Again, it's just your effort and what you decide to do. And we have people on the call to make that all of those or more. And with time and success, your income will be produced by hundreds, perhaps thousands. So here's some myths, and here's some of the things that people spread around and that are not really true and can make people hesitate to actually get into the business. Getting in on the ground floor is the best path to success in a network marketing company. I have a degree in business, and most businesses fail within the first 5 years. So this, just from a business perspective, is not true. It's better to get into a company when it is in the rise phase, not in the very beginning phase, or sometimes in the maturity phase. And with this particular company and with what we're going through and with the trends towards health and wellness, there's never been a better time to get into health and wellness. People need health and wellness more than they ever have in 2020. And just the trends toward that, more alternative and being more accepting over the past 10 years, makes it more and more acceptable. Network marketing is the opportunity for someone who is not doing well financially to make a lot of money. So again, this is a myth because it's only a half truth. Yes, network marketing is so awesome because you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to be educated. You can be a 16-year-old. And if you want to win at this, you can be winning in this in 4 years and make this your career. So that is true. However, it's also an opportunity for someone like me that makes 6 figures, but has worked 80 hours in their job and doesn't want to work 60 hours once a month and wants more time freedom. So it's an opportunity for everyone, not just for people that are not doing well financially. Network marketers succeed by being in the right place at the right time. Again, this is just something that people say. It's not true. You succeed by your efforts. And the big guys make all the money off the little guys. Again, the way that it is structured is the person that builds the most amount of teams is the individual that makes the most amount of money. So if there is someone that is underneath you that builds more teams than you, they will make more money than you. Do you get a percentage off of everyone in your team? Yes, you get a small percentage off of everyone in your team. But I have literally seen someone open up their virtual office and they had only one team and they make a good paycheck. It's an awesome paycheck of getting 1% off of a large team. They were making $2,000 a month. But the person underneath them was a diamond and they make way more than them because they've created more teams. So there's no fear that someone is making money off of you. Like we said, the people that you're working with have a vested interest in helping you succeed. So this is just some statistics that give validity to this industry. So there is a direct selling organization. These things are tracked. These things are regulated. And there is money to be made. This is an $85 billion industry in Asia, a $38 billion industry in Europe, a $36 billion industry in North America, and a $27 billion industry in South America. And we got work to do in Africa because it's only 1.8 billion there. So Asia's is 45%. Every time I do this, I'm like, I need some people in Asia, 20% in Europe, 19% in North America, 14% in South America, and 1% in Africa. And I personally have business everywhere except Asia. I have team members in Europe. I have all over North America, which means Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Again, I already mentioned I have teammates in Peru, Colombia, and Ecuador, and I have teammates in Africa. So why health and wellness? So we've already talked about now is a great time to have a home-based business, but why would you focus on health and wellness rather than fashion or something that you just love? Well, the global wellness market reached approximately 4.75 trillion in 2019, and it is a growth industry that's growing at a rate of 6.4%. And it's a really, really diverse market when you look at the global wellness economy. There's traditional and complementary medicine, preventive and personalized medicine and public health, wellness real estate, healthy eating and nutrition and weight loss, wellness tourism, workplace wellness, physical activity, spa economy, personal care, beauty, and anti-aging, and Young Living touches all of those. We have farms and a spa that you can go to, which includes the wellness real estate and wellness tourism. We focus mostly on the preventative and personalized and complementary medicine through the essential oils and supplements. We have a full healthy eating, nutrition, weight loss, and physical activity lines. So most self-employed individuals that already have that mindset can find a way to integrate this into what they're already doing. So there are a lot of people that are emotional wellness practitioners or massage therapists or personal trainers or makeup artists or estheticians. All of those people can find a way to integrate this into what they're already doing, because the breadth and the depth of the health and wellness products that we have, such as our toxic-free makeup and our toxic-free skincare, is like none other. I've never seen the breadth in any other company. That's because this company has been around for 26 years. So why Young Living? Again, the depth and breadth of products, unmatched. But Young Living owns their own farms. There's no other essential oil company that owns their own farms. We have industry-leading research and testing, and we have a seed to seal promise that's unmatched in the industry. So we promise that we know exactly where your seeds come from, better than organic standards. And we're in charge of that entire process until it is distilled and placed into the bottle and sealed with the cap to you. 25 plus years of experience. We're now in year 26 of operating as a business, and there was 10 years of research that happened before that. Low startup costs. Again, Young Living is on the lower side when it comes to getting started with your home-based business, and largest selection of essential oils, oil-infused products, and toxic-free lifestyle brands. And then this is just the potential that is available to everyone. And so you start out as a distributor, maybe share with your mom. The average distributor makes $26 per month. The average star makes $75 a month, which is almost enough to cover your monthly 100 PV order, which is what you want. If you're a business builder, you have to be on Essential Rewards and you have to be spending that 100 PV, because first we talked about the only way to be successful in this business is being a product of the product. So how many of those product lines do you know? Are you using the hair care products? Are you using the skincare products? Have you converted your cleaning products over? If you haven't, you can't say that you're doing the business. So making sure we help you get to star, preferably in the first month, is great, so that we can make sure that you get your 100 PV point value, 100 USD equivalent order paid for. Senior stars on average make about 235. So the average household usually spends about $400 in what would be equivalent of all the things that Young Living can provide. So we're moving you, and you can max out usually all of the free products that we get by spending 300 equivalent USD. So that senior star is getting you close to covering that. Executive is where you're covering that 300 PV order every single month, and you have a little extra to start paying down your bills and becoming debt free. Silvers on average make about 2,000. Golds on average make about 5,600. And so at the silver level, that's where most, if there's a woman in the home and she's been working part-time, usually she can quit her part-time job as silver. Gold is usually the level where an individual can quit their full-time job. We have individuals on our team that were engineers, and when they were strong golds, they were able to quit. And that personally is my goal. When I get between gold and platinum, I will be able to have replaced my income and have my time freedom. Platinums make on average 13,800. Diamonds make on average 35,000 per month, which is a lot. So again, I know someone who is a senior star that makes 2,000, but there's a diamond underneath them making on average 35,000. So that diamond is not upset of the senior star making money off of them only making 2,000 above her. And then crown diamonds, 64,000 per month, and royal crown diamonds, 144,000 per month. So that is the potential. You just need to decide where you want to be and what you want to do. And again, we have to make the decision, right? So there's certain things. If you're going to be a business builder, you got to be on essential rewards. You got to be a product of the product. You got to have, that it's going to take at a minimum 10 hours a week. Are you setting a schedule and making that clear, and you knowing what that 10 hours consists of? And if you don't, get with the person that invited you to watch this so that they can help you formulate that plan. And then you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent week after week. So that is what we wanted to share with you today. Sheila, any recap or restatements that you wanted to emphasize?
Well, there's some questions in here. Can we go to the questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do I do? What do I do each day, I think, to work 3 hours a day? What does that work day look like? And then also, what about the tax benefits? All righty, so I'll dig into that. I'll start with the tax benefits. And I'm not an accountant. You have to get your accountant. And I have to note that I'm doing my taxes from Canada. And so it's really, I know that I did, my husband had a business while we lived in the States as well. So it's practically the same, but there might be a little differences. So this is what I've been able to work off, to write off. So basically the tax benefits is this. Let's say I make $80,000 from Young Living, and I need to pay taxes on that. Well, when we have write-offs, depending on your write-offs, and I'll go over some of those write-offs, that brings down your tax liability. So based on write-offs, let's say it brings down your tax liability. I have a lot of write-offs, but depending on your write-offs, to $40,000 that you have a tax liability on. So now instead of paying taxes on $80,000 because of my write-offs, I can pay taxes on $40,000. Now I just made up those figures, but the point is that the write-offs bring your tax liability down because it says you didn't really have $80,000 in income because you had to do X amount in business expenses. So my business expenses, if you buy equipment like a computer, if you buy a printer, if you buy any of that stuff, if you buy a stapler, if you buy printer paper, all of that becomes a write-off. So supplies become a write-off. If you own a home, I'm not sure about it renting, but when you own a home, you set up a home office, and the square footage of the home office determines how much you can write off in home expenses. So let's say my home office, I think ours is 9%. So our home office is 9% of our square footage of our full home. So because of that, I get to write off my light bill, 9% of it. I get to write off my telephone bill. Believe it or not, we still have the landline. We still have a landline. So I write off my landline, 9%. We write off our, if I do landscaping at my house, I get to write that off 9%. So anything that has to do with my home, including taxes on the home that you pay yearly, I get to write that off 9%. So that's another area. Another area is things like your cell phone, your car payments, a percentage of it, based on how much you use for business, could also be a write-off. Gas could be a write-off. So when I put all those expenses in, oh, another thing I'd like to mention, your Young Living order is a write-off. In Canada, it's only a write-off to the degree that we're required to order in order to earn our paycheck. So 100 PV earns us our paycheck. So I can write off 100 PV every single month of my order. And then that comes off the top, and that helps me to have to pay less taxes. And then things like trainings, your trips, travel that you integrate Young Living into and can legitimately show it. When we're going to restaurants again, then our restaurants bills. So those are just a few things. I write off so much legitimately that my tax liability comes way, way down from how much I would owe if I did not do that, or if I worked a job and I'm not able to have those write-offs. Okay, and then the next question, what does 3 hours a day look like? For me, and I don't know if this takes 3 hours, but for me, if I'm doing my social media stuff, then it requires me going into, I like to go into groups and connect with people. So that connection that I do with people in groups, and then be able to connect with them offline and be able to share with them Young Living, the opportunity, the products, that type of thing after connecting with them in groups. So that's a social media strategy, so to speak. So that would be like some training that you could probably get from your upline or somewhere else with Young Living. There's a lot of good trainings out there. In fact, there is the Young Living Success Summit, and there is people in there doing presentations on social media and how to do your business social media. So check out the Young Living Success Summit. I have a link, and I can post it in the group here for registering, and it's free. And I think we got another 5 days left for free. And then another thing is just follow up for people with orders for me. People that have expressed, I do a lot of hand holding at the beginning with people, making sure they order the best way. When I say that, if you're at 185 PV, I make sure you go to that 190 so that you can get the extra promos. So follow up with already customers or people who are just new and getting started. I'll follow up and check up with them. And then another thing that I spend my time with is connecting with my team. And I have a team page, I have a team group. And so connecting with my team online as well. Used to be meetings, not doing so many meetings right now, but if meetings times, once they come back together, then that also becomes part of what I do when I do home parties or home meetings or that type of thing. But at home, it's mostly social media and follow up with people. Hope that answers the question. And Tashena may have some other thoughts on that, but there's a homeschooling question that I'd like to get to. And then Tashena, if you want to have some more, what your 3 hour day looks like. Did I find myself working before or after homeschool with little ones? That is really where, when I said earlier that I just had to integrate things together, it was not a before or after, it was during, when I could, for a while when they were little. So when I first started Young Living, my 15-year-old was 3. And I had a 3-year-old all the way up to, they're 14 years different, 17. So 3 to 17 were my kids. I had kids at every grade level. So I had to integrate. Fortunately, my first set of kids were all older, and then I had this little 3-year-old toddler. So with my first set of kids that were older, by that point, they were probably like 11, 12 to 17, trying to think their age differences. And by that point, a lot of them could work on their own. So I kind of get them started and then let them do their thing. I had to sneak in moments. Sometimes that was late at night when I got everybody to sleep. It was never first thing in the morning because because of late at night, right? Then I ended up sleeping in. So, which was cool that I could sleep in. I could let them sleep in. So it's you're gonna tweak it. You're gonna tweak it. It's not gonna be the same for everybody because everybody's family dynamics are different and their age ranges. In the Young Living Summit, I am speaking about homeschooling while building your home-based business. I'm not really talking so much about the hows of building a business in that. I'm more talking about how to think about and get started or get through some of the challenges with homeschooling. So if you want to take a peek at that and listen to that, it's today actually. So it's airing today all day. And then there is an encore weekend on or encore days, the 11th and the 12th, I think. So you'll be able to catch me then as well. And I think I'm doing a live one day this week on the homepage. So definitely tune into the summit if you're able to, and I'll grab the link and stick it in the comments right now if that's okay. And Tashena, did you have an answer to that question of what?
Yeah, so for me, I don't have a 3 hours that I work every day because I work an 8-hour job. And then a lot of times I have to do 2 hours of my volunteer. So I backload a lot of what I do. So sometimes there's 3 hours a day during the week and sometimes there's not, but like, I do extra catch up usually on the weekend. So one of the first and most important things that I do for my business on a daily basis is I listen to my affirmations every single morning. So I have 15 minutes that I've recorded of my goals that are both spiritual, emotional, and business related, because mindset is everything. So as soon as I wake up, so it depends on if you're a person that writes them down or if I'm an audio learner. So instead of writing my goals down every single day or reading them, I actually have recorded them. That's the most important thing that I do for my business every single day is reviewing my goals and my affirmations. So that probably takes about 15 minutes. And I do that while I'm doing my stretching in bed. So it doesn't really take away from anything. And then it's also different if it's the beginning of the month. So like right now I'm in the beginning of the month. So some of the things that I have to do this weekend is I have to make sure that I get out all new member emails. I have to get out all new member postcards. I have to touch base with all of my personally enrolled. I have to touch base with all of my leaders that have certain goals. So that requires emails, text messages, getting in the system to send postcards. And then I have to plan out what's the schedule going to be for our classes. So the end of the month, I book all of the classes. We always make sure that we have one team class where anybody that's interested can present, because it's really good to have different testimonies and different voices. So I have to spend time on Facebook and put those classes on the books. And then I have to put together the agenda and I have to distribute it to the teammates so that we can all schedule together. And then I have to touch base with all my new people and do my onboarding process with them. So like after this, I have a follow-up with someone who has only had her kit for like a month and still isn't really using anything. And then on a daily basis, I do make sure that I do something for social media. So even if it's like maybe a Wednesday, which is the day that I have worship service, I probably wouldn't do very much for my business. Before I go to bed, I make sure I post once on Facebook or Instagram if I haven't yet. And I'm in a couple of pods where we agree to comment on each other's things so that it boosts the algorithms in Instagram. So I will catch up on my pods, I will make my posts, and I will comment on other people's stuff. So that is something that I definitely do every single day before I go to bed. But like, Sheila was stating, when you're a leader, and you have 350 plus people on your team, a lot of what you do is touching base with individuals like via email and blasting things out, and then touching base with your leaders and your personally enrolled and your new people. In the beginning, most of what you're doing is promoting your uplines classes, planning your own classes, and following up with all of your team members.
Can I add? Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I just wanted to, because I do feel like it's important, just because I know Laura, I know Tavis. I think it's important too, because I think about what does my day look like now versus what does my day look like when I first started. And both Tavis and Laura are like way further in their interpersonal communication skills than I am. But I know, like, when I first started, what it looked like for me, honestly and truthfully, was just a matter of, like, first and foremost, I was not on social media. I did not grow on social media. I did not really, even now, I only use social media to grab people and pull them offline. But what it really looked like for me was, first and foremost, just saying hello to people that were in my phone book. So in my phone, I would go through, hey, we haven't talked in a while. How are things going? And just naturally, organically, as they're saying what's going on with them, I tell them what's going on with me. And if there's something specific that they hone in on, like, oh, I've been stressed out lately, or oh, my health is this. And if there was an opportunity, then I would say, oh, have you tried blah, 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 blah. I'm just now learning about it. And like Tashena mentioned, at the time it would be Leah. It'd be like, Leah, are you familiar with the Better Health stores? Yeah, like her family owns those stores and they know all about health and wellness. You should totally come with me on Wednesday night to learn a little bit more, because I'm learning too. I was also really scared of people. So a lot of times I would just send things to people. So I would send samples out to people and be like, hey, and in my letter, I would say, text me when you get this. I want to give you more information. And so if they were interested, they would text me, and then I would prompt and I would give them specific instructions on how to use their samples. And then I would be like, hey, this is how you get started if you wanted to use it. But for me, my day was very, very simple, like, because like I said, I was scared of people. So like, I was not going to be one that was going to talk to people I didn't know. I'm not going to be like in people's DMs I don't know. Like, that just wasn't like my vibe. So I really started with like the people that I was close enough that I have their phone number in my phone that I would actually call and have a conversation with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it definitely looks totally different when you start out. I mean, in order to grow your business, it is sharing, getting people on essential rewards, and then for every maybe 10 people that you get on your team, one of them might casually share with their family members. And so helping them to do that. And just like Dana said, when I first started out, I contacted the people that I knew and I made sure I got them to Leah's classes. Like the easiest way when you're starting out is to show up to as many classes as you can and bring as many people as you can and follow up with them. And the people that can't come to classes, you do one-on-ones, you do maybe one class a month. That is the best and easiest way to get to executive. And that's how we got to executive.
So now, Tashena, what do you advise people now during the time where we're not? I know maybe some people are still starting to get together in smaller groups. I'm sure that's happening. Is that kind of maybe the advice, if people feel comfortable getting together, smaller group of maybe 3 or 4 people? Which personally, when I did home parties, and I preferred 3 or 4 or 5 people there. And the reason why I preferred that is because I wanted to connect and make everybody feel like I was there for them. That was just kind of my style. And with 10 or 12 people, then maybe 3 or 4 people got my attention, and the rest, I couldn't focus on as much. So I preferred that. So maybe people are getting together. I know I haven't yet, but maybe people are getting together 3 or 4 people, or people are doing more classes online.
Yeah, Michigan, we're not getting together.
Yeah.
I think there may be a few leaders that are doing outside stuff, and now it's going to be cold. So we're not, Michigan
Yeah.
was too much of a hot spot for us to get together. So everybody knows how to use Zoom now. They know how to use Zoom. So like Dana said, you can send somebody some samples and say, text me afterwards. You can have a phone conversation, walk them through. You can do a one-on-one via Zoom, which would have been in the past your coffee date that you would do with them to catch up. And then when you're comfortable doing your own classes, you can start doing classes on Zoom or whatever other platform. I know there's other platforms that people prefer. And then again, if you're blessed enough to have an upline that has, if you're watching the replay, that have classes in between, bring as many people to those classes as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And these videos.
Yes.
Send people these videos to watch.
I did that all the time in the beginning. Before I had my own collection, Shannon Hudson's 101 video was a follow-up that I sent to people all of the time. All of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. All right. I think we've gotten to all the questions.
All righty. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, we're definitely, I know anyone that watches the replay, for anyone that has additional questions, yeah, just definitely get with the leader you usually work with and set up a one-on-one to now take that information and create a plan that works for you, your lifestyle, and your personality.
Can I make a suggestion to people as well as reaching out to people online? I'm about to go live in a group and talk about the oils. And the reason why I can go live in this group, so a Facebook group is what I mean. The reason why I can go live in this Facebook group is because I've been in this group and I've been interacting in this group, and many groups will offer you the opportunity, especially right now around Christmas time. Many groups will offer you the opportunity to basically to pitch or to post your links or whatever. So posting your link in a group is not helpful unless you're going to follow up with that. Don't just post your link and just think, oh, people are going to contact me now, right? You have to do the follow-up, and you follow up with other people that's on that thread that posted their links. And then you can reach out to them and you can like their link and that kind of a thing. So there is a lot of business, a lot of people you can reach out to online through groups. So if you haven't kind of tuned into doing Facebook groups, there is kind of a way, right? You know, and it's authentic. You want to go in, you want to get to know each other, you want to support each other in that group. And some groups say, no, none of this. Don't put, we don't want any type of, I'll use the word soliciting, but that's not really what we're doing, but they don't want that. And then some groups welcome it. So find the groups that welcome you to share your business, your products, your business opportunity. And there are literally tons. Find one or two and work that one or two and then find another one. So if you haven't started doing that yet, that's what I do. And I love doing it. So I just wanted to throw that out there for people who may not have thought of that as a means of connecting.
All righty, guys. Yeah, we're definitely at that hour. We did start like 10 minutes late today. So we thank everyone that joined us today and everyone that's going to watch the replay. And again, reach out at any time. Have an amazing evening. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.